Education, Pre-Kindergarten Adoption, Connect for Learning. Administration requests the board's approval to adopt Kaplan Early Learning Company's Connect for Learning, an early childhood comprehensive curriculum and instructional program. As a requirement of state pre-kindergarten funding, the district must adopt an evidence-based early childhood curriculum approved by the Kansas State Department of Education. Connect for Learning is a curriculum approved by KSDE. Administration will present an overview of the proposed pre-kindergarten curriculum adoption. This purchase is for the following resources, including classroom kits, classroom consumable packs, principal handbooks, one-year online subscriptions, and professional development. It is recommended the board authorize the purchase of the identified resources and professional development by Kaplan Early Childhood Learning Company for the amount not to exceed funds in the textbook rental fund at the time of payment of the purchase order.
Welcome.
Good evening. I'd like to start by saying I hope you are enjoying your beautiful artwork that Jefferson Elementary United Pre-Kindergarten Classroom created for you in honor of Week of the Young Child. You also have a lapel pin that you can wear on April the 16th through the 20th as you are in schools and you're celebrating our young learners. And the picture was from a pre-kindergarten student, and then another student in the class made you a May basket that you may hang on your door on May Day, and hopefully you get flowers. So, but good evening, President Rohde and members of the board, Dr. Thompson and Dr. Irving. I'm super excited to be here tonight to talk to you about our pre-kindergarten work that we've been doing in the district. Really started towards the end of last year as KSD actually asked for all of the pre-kindergarten programs across the state to begin looking at their current programs to ensure that an evidence-based curriculum was being used in our pre-kindergarten classrooms. Programs which did not have an evidence-based curriculum were asked to prepare a plan to implement a program. You'll see there in your notes that is grounded in child development, evidence-based, and aligned to our KELS. Our KELS are our Kansas Early Learning Standards. And a comprehensive program asks for the program to be inclusive of reading, math, social studies, science, and social emotional. And there are the components there for you. Listed out again: communication and literacy, mathematics, science, social studies, creative arts, and social emotional. So in regards to that, our 4 curriculums that we chose were on the state's approved list this past year. We actually started with listening to several different programs that did presentations to us, and then we looked at made sure that we looked at the criterias, made sure we looked at the KELS, and made sure we also looked at the evidence-based research that they had. So the 4 that we ended up piloting were Big Day for Pre-K, Learning Without Tears, Get Set for School, Connect for Learning, and Frog Street. Our pilot process, as you can see, we started in September. We asked for pre-K teachers to volunteer to pilot. We had a few slots left right before we started piloting, so we did reach out to a few pre-K teachers, and we got some more volunteers. And then in October and November, we had the curriculum presentations, and then starting in November, we had pilot training retreats where the curriculum vendors provided grade-specific training for classroom teachers and the early childhood specialists. And then we kind of visited and talked with some other districts who were using some of them. And then our pilot process began in pre-K in December. And then all through December and January and February, we had pilot teacher meetings. We gathered information about the strengths and weaknesses. We also provided time for teachers to plan, and we worked with them on the curriculum so that we would get to know all 4 curriculums well. And then also for them to prepare their presentations to the focus group and their colleagues that they did on District In-Service Day. We also had pilot companies coming in during this time that conducted classroom visits to address questions, and they worked with pilot teachers one-on-one in their rooms, and also with their early childhood coaches so that they would be able to support teachers if they had questions outside of the day. We then held our community meeting, which was our focus group, that heard the proposal and provided feedback. We had our SPED director of special ed services, and then ESOL teaching specialists, 3 pre-kindergarten teachers who were not on the pilot committee, 2 administrators, elementary administrators. Then we also included the reading and writing curriculum coaches. We had an MTSS facilitator, one of our lead coaches, our community executive director from TOP, and then a union representative served on our committee. Each group then presented to the pre-K teachers at in-service day. Then in February, we began to finalize the proposal based on the community's feedback, coaches, and the peers' feedback. And then our data that we collected from our focus group was very extensive. We used an alignment piece to the KELS. I think you have a long sheet there, and we'll talk about that in just a second, that shows you our KELS alignment. This happens to be our pilot schools. So you can see that we have a variety of schools that we reached out across the district because we wanted to make sure that we had all of our areas represented as far as at-risk students, special needs students, and also our ESOL learners. So you can see we had a wide variety across the district. We then collected the data from the pilot team, community, the peer feedback, and also our coaches. So this is our rubric that you'll see, and you can see that each header has the domains aligned to our KELS. Again, that's the Kansas Early Learning Standards. And then we just had them listen to the programs and actually just score it right on there so that we would have good feedback that was reliable and definitely aligned to our standards, because that's the piece we really wanted to be strong. Of course, as we move to a comprehensive program, that's another piece. We wanted to make sure the KELS was aligned all the way through it as it spiraled and came back around, so that teachers will be able to use this program to represent all of those areas. This is where some of the strengths that came out about our program. It is a research-led interdisciplinary approach to pre-K learning. It's project-based through units. There's opportunities to enhance and promote a deep learning experience. There's exploration of literacy, math, science, and social studies. It does develop social-emotional skills. There are measurable learning objectives that support children's development of cognitive processes. It can be adapted to meet the needs of diverse learners, and then, of course, it's aligned to our KELS. This is a picture of our Connect for Learning. There's 3 boxes that come with the kit. So you can see there's a lot of, there's some manipulatives, 120 really good literature books that come with it as well, and the activities, and then the teacher manuals. The company is also going to be providing a jump drive for all the teachers so that they have the teacher manuals that they can use at home, so they don't have to carry everything back and forth. They'll be able to use that if they choose to. Our implementation plan, of course, if the board approves tonight, would be to communicate to our stakeholders, then work to finalize our agreement, implement our professional development plan in the fall of 2018, fully implement into the pre-kindergarten classrooms. Our professional development plan, we have there listed for you. We would like to train pre-K teachers and paras. We know it's important to make sure that we're reaching out to the paras too, to include them, because they do help with a lot of the curriculum in a pre-K classroom. We would like to ask them to come to 1 full day of training. It's optional. We will pay them to attend if they choose to attend, May 21st, 22nd, or the 23rd. And then again, the company will come back on our district in-service pull-out day on August 8th, and we will go deeper with the curriculum at that time. And then also we will bring them back at our 2 district in-service half-days, October 22nd and February 19th, so that we can ensure that teachers are getting everything that they need as far as understanding the program. And then our early childhood coaches will also be extensively trained from our company so that they will be able to offer weekly and bi-weekly support in the classrooms. Okay, do you have any questions for me?
We do. We'll start with Julie.
Okay.
Yeah, I was glad to get this presentation. I'm really pleased to see this very complete rubric that you guys created, and then that you had your stakeholders scoring that rubric, and that included not only your pilot teacher teams, but also some teachers that weren't a part of the team. Mm-hmm. I did have quite a bit of communication with pre-K teachers in the district, and I don't know if these questions are for you or for Tiffany to answer, but But of course, some teachers are thrilled to death that their favorite got picked. And then, of course, there's, as we would expect, not all 62 teachers are going to get their favorite. But I did have a couple of comments from a couple of teachers that didn't get their favorite that I felt like were legitimate concerns, and would just like to know how you would plan to address those. The first one was that this person happened to prefer a different curriculum. That she said it came with letters to send to parents in English and in Spanish.
So, good question. We already have a plan in place. We do have parent letters that are in English. We've already been working with the company to ensure that we will be able to translate in any language that we need, so we would be able to support even beyond Spanish. And good news, I also do ESOL and I do translations, so that will be easy for me to get done for the district.
Okay, awesome. And then the other concern that was expressed was that with the Connect for Learning, they said that there's a creative activity for the kids in each one of the sessions. And they thought those creative activities seemed fun and great and a good learning experience for kids. But they expressed concern that at some schools, to collect those items needed for those activities, they seem to be like a lot of things like old cereal boxes or empty milk cartons, that in some schools, like where my grandkids go at Price Harris, I'm sure all they have to do is send a note home in the backpack and, the stuff comes back. But some of the teachers said that they'd have a lot more difficult time collecting those items that they were going to need to do the activities. So even though they thought the activities looked great and were excited about the activities themselves, they were concerned about being able to collect the items.
So 2 things to answer your question. First of all, some of those activities are optional, so they're not required to do, and there are other choices for them to do other activities that don't require like a student to bring a toilet paper roll or a cereal box. For example, we also have resources within our own school for some of the projects. So some of our teachers this time that were piloting, their job was to create a coral reef. And so what they did was they kept the milk cartons that were from snack, dried them out, and the students took those milk cartons and the snack, we have the little cereal box things, they just used those box things and they created these awesome animals out of recycled stuff that we had right there in the school, so they didn't even have to ask. And some of those were title buildings that have a hard time getting things back from parents as well. But they did not have any issues with that because, you can choose it to do the activity or not, or you could use something that you already have in the school. We also are going to be purchasing a few supplemental resources that would help some teachers with that too. So we've already taken a look at all of that. So we have not been able to share that with teachers yet because this was our step. We have to go through our approval process with you guys and make sure that we're approved before we can move forward on all of that. So
Okay, well, great. I'm really
Yeah.
pleased that you're already thinking about those things and going to take care of those teachers, so.
yeah, we will.
Thank
We
you.
will definitely.
Ben?
So as a parent of a pre-K kid now, he
Yay.
turned 3 on Sunday. So I recognize a lot of these built-in literature books from books we've taken out from the library these past couple months. So awesome on that. And I was also interested on a note to maybe be able to participate in some of the rollout, just as an observer.
Oh, of course. Yes, I would love it if you guys would want to pop
So-
over and,
Yeah.
we can get that to Tiffany and she can get that out to you guys.
That would be awesome.
Yeah,
Thank
where
you.
we're going to be and, yeah, I'd love it if you'd come by.
Yeah. Thank you.
Ron?
That's exactly what I was going to ask. So
Oh, yay, woohoo.
just send that out, and sounds good. And I really wanted to say also just some thank yous because as a teacher, I know the challenges, and just for them to step up and volunteer for this is really awesome to do that for their colleagues and for us as well. And also, I want to thank Janaya, Javier, and who was the other one? Abelino? Yes, Sabalino. That was really,
Yes.
tell them, thank you.
Okay. And those little round things are the pre-K versions of paperweights.
Oh.
What Cheryl's picked up. They're the pre-K versions of paperweights. So yes, and I'd like to publicly thank Jefferson and Karen Weedle. She was the teacher that did this too.
Oh, really?
So-
All right, great, thank you.
Cheryl.
Yeah, but I like my gifts, so thank them for me as well. Couple of questions. One, I know that there's training in May for the teachers. Will they be able to take the materials home this summer to work on them?
Well, we're hoping if it's approved tonight, we can move quickly on our contract, and they have told us that they will try to get things to us before the end of the school year, depending on the time that we can get the
Yeah,
contract.
because many teachers like to work through the summer to just read and be prepared, so if we can make that available
Even if
for
we
them,
can
that would
just
be
get
good.
them their jump drives, they'd have their teacher manuals to look
Right.
at home too, that would be.
Yeah, if they have those, that's what
We
I
will work
wondered if
fast
those
and
are gonna be
furious to
available.
get that done.
Good, thank you. And secondly, there are some consumable costs in this, and I am assuming that, obviously, those are ongoing every year. Will that be built into our textbook funding for the budget to be
It
able
will
to
be for
provide
what
those
we need,
consumables?
yeah. We will have the option to purchase what we need from our consumables. So as we have piloted, we have noticed that there's a few things that we probably won't have to repurchase in the consumables, but we will be purchasing a few things. And so we'll build that into our
That'll be
textbook.
built in so that we don't have 3 years out, teachers don't have the consumables that they need.
Yes, yes, we
Yes.
won't do that.
Okay, great. I am willing to make the motion that we accept this.
I second.
We have a motion by Cheryl and a second by Ron. Passes 7-0.
Okay,
Time to
thank
get to
you so
work.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
May 21st, 22nd, 23rd.